Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Whew. Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Sydney.
And I'm Destiny, and together we are Bright and Scent.
Yes, we create.
We should start over. I don't know what you're on, but you were just everywhere.
We exist to create ways for you to send your light where it's needed most and help you burn it bright. And we do that through our symbolic candle business as well as through our apparel business.
We also do that by creating faith, life, and business content here for you all on YouTube. So if this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we post a video, and like this video.
Yes.
Share it with someone you feel like would benefit from it, or just to get our name out there, and comment new video ideas or content ideas, as well as questions you might have for us.
So today's video is one that we thought could be pretty useful for those who are kind of in a lot of transition in life. We're both in transition in life. We both have gone through transition before. Just knowing what season you're in, having that feeling that something is coming up, something's happening, there's going to be a shift that's coming, preparing for that, and then being content in your current ones.
I think right now I'm planting. So transition. Season I think I'm going to is harvest. And then the season we're coming out of is definitely drought. I knew that, like, at least the season I'm like now moving out of was kind of a more difficult, challenging season, was because there were multiple difficult, challenging life situations that were happening all around each other. It's not like I was committing these atrocities and like my life was falling apart.
Yeah.
It was just like life was happening, and sometimes life is difficult, and you experience challenges that are completely independent of your spiritual walk. So like if you're living a life of hot mess will follow you, because God's gonna try to deal with it in the spirit realm, but if you ain't listening, he's gonna, some things are gonna start happening to you because you're coming up out of your umbrella of protection. But it was just challenging, like financially challenging, and financial hardship is not always gonna happen, but I'm young, I don't have a lot of wealth. We're working on building that. I was kind of getting like sick. I don't want to say sick a lot, but like I feel like it was medical bill after medical bill just from like doctor's visits, and they were just hitting me because I was just having to go to the doctor a lot. We were having a lot of stuff going on in my family. One of my sister-in-law was really sick. A family member, their spouse, suddenly passed away. One of my really good friends that I've had for years, he was a coworker that became like a really close friend. He just passed away. Job stuff was really difficult. I was just dealing with I felt like warfare. It was bad. Like this year was just really difficult. And I wouldn't even say it was just 1 year. I mean, the last 2 years have been really challenging. So I think those are the things that kind of let me know that season. How I was able to identify that I'm in a season of transition or planting is I feel like a lot of people have been speaking into us about what's coming. That was one indicator. If you're in a spiritual environment, like godly spiritual, Christ spiritual environment, there are people who actively hear from God, including yourself. Like you should be able to hear from God too. A lot of people that were like kind of just like coming to us, my husband and I, and being like, hey, we know things have been really difficult. Like we can sense that in the spirit that you've been kind of travailing a little bit. But like God sees you, God hears you, God knows where you're at, He sees your faithfulness. This next phase is gonna be good. You've worked and He can see what you've done, and He can see the work you put in. You've remained faithful. The reward is coming, the harvest is coming. I feel like in my prayer time, I've found myself praying and being thankful for the hardship because I know it was preparing me. And I felt like I was kind of led to pray that way. So I've started to notice that opportunities are presenting themselves that were not presenting themselves before. And that have helped us financially, and that have brought us to the point that we're at. Like the last 4 years have just been about getting in and getting there, getting in and getting there. What can I do to get in and get there? Well, now we're here. And And so like now being here, it's like, okay, what's next? The harvest is like we're obtaining what we were working towards. And so like we're at the beginning of obtaining that. My prayer time looks different. The things that are popping up out of scripture that I'm like noticing are different. I think that's kind of the flow. I hope that makes sense. Being content through the difficult, through the transition, and through the upcoming harvest, that I think we've kind of started a little bit, but definitely it's just the beginning, I feel, for us. Staying prayerful and rooted in the word, surrounding yourself with people who can pour into you, because I think when you're in a difficult season, your cup is kind of empty. Like you're kind of like you're a little tilted, and you're like I'm having a hard time maintaining what's cut, like, or like I've poured out, and like, okay, I'm kind of like, you're kind of like getting to a point where you're like rested, but it's a little low. You need some new wine in your wineskin, and so you need people to kind of pour into you a little bit. And so you need to be around people who can do that for you. If you're around people who are just sucking you dry, it's gonna be really hard to be content when stuff is difficult for you. I was about to start my prayer time, and like God brought back to my remembrance a prayer that I had written down months like before. And it was a really good prayer. And it was a prayer that reflected how I felt, but in a much more positive way, in terms of like actually like being able to communicate with God and like reflect like not positively like happy, but like in a fruitful way, like reflect on how I was feeling, and then come to God with like good petition, if that makes any sense, while also having a posture of thankfulness. Like when you're going through a difficult season, you need to remember the positive stuff that you can be thankful for. And if you keep yourself in a place where you're constantly thanking God despite the difficult challenges, you're gonna be able to be content.
God is taking me from just receiving to like serving. I think that's something that has been like so highlighted. And I think for me, knowing that the season was coming is like, for me, like God deals with me with my emotions. So I'll feel super uneasy, or I'll feel like something is coming, or I'll feel like there's a shift that's about to happen, and that usually happens. Sometimes it doesn't, but it usually is like an indicator that God is placing within my emotions to let me know like something is on the horizon. Prophecy is a way that he always confirms what he wants to do. When I was not like close with him, that's how he confirmed like that I was coming to, like that if I surrendered to him, like I would be moving to Ohio. And when I got to Ohio, like people prophesying that like God would use me when I go to Texas, and like now I'm moving to Texas, and like having that confirmation, he always gives me confirmation. And it's so funny because just the other day I was talking with some friends, and one was like, oh, like no one ever prophesies to me, no one ever prophesies whatever. But really, like when you think about it, if you have a bunch of people prophesying to you all the time, it's because you're not getting it. And that's how I am. That's sometimes I can be really like oblivious, or I can just be very like skeptical, and God knows that. So he'll send somebody, like different people, no matter where I'm at, or you know, in whatever group I'm at, to like confirm it. And it's not like I don't pride myself in having a bunch of people prophesy things to me, because I know it's just because God knows it's really hard for me to get it. So he sends a lot of people to like keep reminding me of what he said. But that's how he speaks to me. I used to be someone who would take something like that, like if someone told me like God is calling you to do XYZ, and I felt that in my heart, because prophecy should be confirmation, would be like, okay, now I'm just focused on this, I'm focused on this, I'm focused on this, and like nothing else. And I can't wait to get out of what I'm currently in, because God's calling me to this. And I think through a lot of maturing and a lot of wisdom that's been poured into me, that way I can act it out and like walk in wisdom, I've gotten to a place where God is just consistently reminding me, like, you got the prophecy doing what you were doing. So just keep doing what you're doing. You know, like I am leading you and guiding you, and I want you to keep doing what I've given you today, because what I've given you today is what is preparing you for what's coming tomorrow. So I think having that perspective keeps you very content with where you're at in life. And I think that's really helped me. I think if you allow God to like walk you through the life that he has for you, and like really order your steps, like God is going to do crazy, amazing things through your life, because he has plans beyond all of our imaginations, you know. And so it's like, if you allow God to really order your steps, like the things that he will open up doors for you to walk in, like for me, I'm like, I don't want to go to the next season until I'm really ready. Like, I don't want our business to blow up until like we're really ready for it. Like, I don't want to walk into all the blessings and callings and gifts and adventures that God has for me until I'm actually ready, because if he's ordering my steps and I'm so focused on tomorrow that I'm not doing anything today to prepare, like, I'm gonna get there and my character's not gonna be able to sustain it. My work ethic's not gonna be able to sustain it. You know, even in terms of like things like singleness or things like, you know, moving to a new place. I'm moving somewhere where I don't really know anybody that well. And so like having that knowledge that like God is calling me here, like I want to soak up all the time. I want to learn as much as I can from my mentors. I want to spend as much time as I can with my friends. I want to spend as much time as I can in prayer, serving, doing whatever I can do to like really, like, I'm not in a rush to get out of Ohio, you know what I'm saying? So it's really important to just maximize whatever time God gives you in whatever season, because you're not going to ever get that back. Sometimes we wait so long for something and then we get it and we're like, oh, like it just becomes your new normal once you're in it. So then it's like, man, like I wasted all this time just sitting around waiting for something that I know God has called me to. I know God said I'm going to get. So like, there's no need for me to like rush to it or to sit around and like, you know, twiddle my thumbs until that day comes, because if God said it, like it's gonna happen no matter what. The only thing that can stop it from happening or delay it really is you getting in the way. So, and a lot of times we can get in the way of our own progress in life by not doing what we're supposed to do to get there. So whatever God has called you to do, first you have to have full faith that he's gonna do it, that he's gonna perform it. And with that, there comes there's a soberness that comes with that. Like, if God is really gonna bless me in the way that I am believing him to bless me, like, what do I need to do? Who's the person that I need to be when that comes? Like, what are the things that he wants me to do once I get there, and prepare for that? And so it really sobers you to be like, wow, I need to really prepare. Then you need to really understand, like, okay, I'm not going to get this time back that I'm currently in. What are the blessings that God has given me today? Because he's not always calling you out of mess. Sometimes it's just like to a greater thing. So it's like understanding, like, okay, God has blessed me with my friends that I've made, you know, for me in Ohio. I'm going to spend as much time as I can with my friends until God calls me to the next thing. And when I get there, I'm believing that he's going to provide more friends, but I'm not going to get to see those friends all the time. So spending time with those friends, like, I'm still single. So it's like, I want to make sure, like, when I get married, I'm never going to get my singlehood back. So going on the trips, you know, doing what you're supposed, like doing whatever you want to do, like hanging out with your friends until whatever time you want to hang out with them, you know, venturing off, doing things that you might not be able to do if you have a family, different things like that keep you content. Like, I am so content with where I'm at, because I know this time is not going to come back. There's going to be times where you're called to serve. There's going to be times when you're called to rest. There's going to be times when you're called to sow, when it's time to reap. You know, it's like this back and forth. Like, that's how life is. It's very circular. And so just really whatever season you're in, if you're in a tough season, you can have hope that it's not always going to be like this. If you're in a season where you're in abundance and all that, you can have hope that it's not always going to be like that. And I'm really grateful for where I'm at in life, because it's not always going to be like this. It might be better, it might be worse, but it's not always going to be like this. And that's the one thing that we know for sure, is that you don't get time back. So all that to say, I hope this video was helpful. If there are ways that you are struggling with being content, you know, comment below. Like, we'd love to respond and help. And essentially all that is found in Christ. Like I said, the first thing that you should do is always just trust and believe that God is who he says he is, and that he's going to do what he said he's going to do. And contentment is really, like, it's really truly found there, because if you trust someone, there's nothing to worry about. So yeah, hopefully this wasn't too long. I hope it was helpful. And yeah, just like I said, comment below, let us know ways that you have overcome this, things that you're currently going through, and we'd love to interact with you guys. Anything else you want to say?
No, thank you for being here. Feel free to share this video with someone you think would encourage.
Yeah, and it's fun to do these kind of videos that are like more just deeper and more meaningful to some of the things that go on in like our day-to-day life that are sometimes hard to kind of assess and talk about. So we love doing these videos and hope to do more like it. But until next time, bye.